Aloha mai kako, you are watching Hawaii Political Reporter.
Aloha and welcome to Hawaii Political Reporter. Thanks for watching. Tonight, an urgent appeal from Harry Kim, Puna Pono Alliance, and Hawaii 1,000 Friends to contact your representative to ensure a hearing to repeal the PLDC is allowed. A powerful and scary video from Storm Cloud's gathering. Is America going to the dark side? We end with Mr. Feshamon's very cool and eye-opening video about gun control. But first, a few updates. Then news from Hawaii State Senator Russell Ruderman and the Libertarian Party's response to Obama's State of the Union address. An honest man with a proven success record of governing, Gary Johnson, will be having a Google Hangout on the 26th. Well worth your time if you want true change to our system. Occupy Hawaii is now on Twitter. They are the up-to-the-moment hub of information on grassroots activity and resistance in Hawaii. Hawaii State Senator Russell Ruderman update. Highway 130 speed limits to be changed. Between Shower Drive and Maku'u Drive, the speed limit will be lowered 10 miles an hour to 45 miles an hour. And in the vicinity of Leilani Boulevard, there will probably be no changes as the accident data did not support it. More details are available at russellruderman.com.
Hello, I'm Carla Howell, Executive Director for the Libertarian National Committee. In his State of the Union address, President Barack Obama proposes policies that make things worse for the economy and worse for Americans. Higher government spending, more dangerously high government debt, continued meddling in needless, costly foreign conflicts, more rules and regulations, higher taxes, and more assaults on our freedom. Despite whatever attacks Republican politicians serve up, their proposals and their votes do the same thing: preserve and grow big government. The Republicans say they want limited government. Limited to what? A $3.8 trillion federal budget? A nearly $5 trillion budget? Look at the Republican budget crafted by Paul Ryan. That's what Democrats and Republicans are planning to raise spending to over the next 10 years. Limited? Democratic and Republican politicians are planning to raise the debt from today's $16.5 trillion to over $20 trillion. Limited? How high does government spending and debt have to be before Democratic and Republican politicians say it's too much? Will they spend until the economy literally collapses? Will workers struggle year after year to find decent jobs while retirees are trapped in poverty and the middle class disappears? When politicians talk about limited government, it's their way of covering up the fact that they refuse to cut government spending and they continually raise spending. The Libertarian Party says, stop overspending, stop borrowing, never raise the debt ceiling, balance the budget not in 10 years, now, just like families and businesses must do every day. Then keep cutting until we have a small constitutional government that is truly limited to protecting our lives, liberty, and property, and no more. Less money for politicians and more in the productive private sector is good for the economy. American workers and taxpayers will have more jobs, higher take-home pay, and more savings. Big government, Democrats and Republicans will try to scare you into believing they'll have to cut essential services. That's a lie. They're spending double what Democratic President Bill Clinton spent in the year 2000. They claim that if they cut spending, we'll have fewer jobs. Another lie. Cutting government spending will create jobs. For every government worker who may get laid off, it will create 2 jobs in the private sector. Cutting government spending will result in a huge net jobs gain. Plenty of jobs for everyone who's willing to work. Big government, Democrats and Republicans will keep spending recklessly, raising your taxes, assaulting your liberties, and raising government debt as long as you let them get away with it. What can you do to stop them? What you say or write has no effect on the behavior of big government politicians, but how you vote does. The greatest power you have to stop big government is your vote. When you sit it out, or worse, when you vote for big government Democrats or Republicans, it empowers and emboldens them. What do you get? More big government. When you vote small government, you're changing the game. When you vote for small government libertarian candidates, you're throwing down the gauntlet. You're demanding a stop to high taxes, bailouts, and obscene government debt. You make small government, low taxes, low government spending, more jobs, and more freedom possible. Remember when Ma Bell was the only game in town for telephones and telephone service? Cell phone technology had already been invented, yet we were stuck for decades with big, clunky, rotary-dialed phones like this. When we took away Ma Bell's government-granted monopoly, we got portable phones, cell phones, smartphones, mobile tablets, and hundreds of new features. Real competition breeds progress. Democrats and Republicans want a monopoly on elections, just like Ma Bell. They want you to believe your only choice is a Democrat or Republican who will deliver clunky, wasteful, high-tax, high-debt, war-waging, freedom-fading, job-killing big government. But you have a choice. You can vote Libertarian. Libertarians say, stop overspending. End phony stimulus bailouts. Eliminate hundreds of agencies and departments that do more harm than good. Downsize big government now. Libertarians say remove thousands of useless government regulations so businesses can compete and thrive in a global economy and create jobs. Libertarians say federal government central planning of education gives us higher costs, red tape, and worse outcomes. We must end government central planning and return control of schools to parents, teachers, and local communities. Libertarians say, repeal the failed and deadly war on drugs. Leave people free so long as they harm no one else. Restore our freedoms while dramatically reducing crime. Libertarians say, don't just oppose the ridiculous anti-gun measures that Obama's proposing, that Republicans are caving into. Repeal all life-endangering laws on the books that disarm peaceful, law-abiding citizens so they're free to stop and prevent violent crime and horrific shooting sprees. That's how we'll make our streets and our schools safe. Libertarians say repeal and defund Obamacare now, and with it get rid of a boatload of government agencies, laws, and regulations that serve to enrich special interests while driving Americans to bankruptcy. Get government out of the way so health care and medical insurance serve the needs of customers and deliver high-quality care at a fraction of today's prices and premiums. Libertarians say, stop handing out subsidies to foreign dictators. Stop engaging in foreign wars. Ground the 3,000 drones that are flying around spying on Americans. Bring our troops home out of harm's way. Cut military spending and promote peace. Libertarians say, cut taxes now, permanently. Big, bold tax cuts that take money out of the hands of politicians and return them to the men and women who earned it. The state of the union we're in today is, we're in trouble. Our economy, our freedoms, and our safety are at risk because government is way, way too big. Big government Democrats and Republicans made it this way. We must stop them from growing big government more, turn it around, and make it small. The Libertarian Party and our candidates are working for much smaller government, low taxes, no more debt, peace, and freedom. Is that what you want? It's possible, but only if you stop voting for big government Democrats and Republicans, and only if you vote for small government. The Libertarian Party is the only political party in America that is dedicated to boldly and immediately shrinking big government, making it small. Over 15,750,000 votes were cast for Libertarian candidates in 2012, the highest ever. We're growing, and we need to grow more. We need your help. Are you ready to act, to take back this country? Please join us. Please join the Libertarian Party today. Help us make government small and make America prosperous, safe, and free.
Hawaii Political Reporter is not owned, influenced, or an agent of corporate, government, or special interest. We are a local, honest, independent source of political news and commentary. Our primary goals are to promote awareness of the non-aggression principle and to reduce violence, war, and death. To promote economic liberty, prosperity, and true civil rights as in the U.S. Constitution. To promote transparency and to bring awareness of corruption in government and the collusion at all levels with big-moneyed individuals and special interests to deprive the people of true choice of government, government that is truly by and for the people, for prosperity and freedom. And now we have some more important alerts sent from the Puna Pono Alliance on some other subjects than directly related to geothermal. The first one is actually originating from Hawaii's Thousand Friends, from Donna Wong, the executive director. And their website is posted here, as you can see. And anyways, this is a high alert. Testimony is urgently needed now. And this is for Tuesday, March 19th, 2013. If you're watching this on TV, unfortunately it will be too late. But if you're seeing this on the internet, which we will release this as soon as possible, you may have time. Please do act and help if you can. And if you're watching on TV, at least you can see what happens here. There's a good likelihood, I'll bet you, that they're going to pull a little procedural. These senators, a lot of them, and politicians in general, and I see it here at the state a lot. I've experienced it myself. They pulled all these little last-minute, reschedulings and throwing things in. It's really very dirty and sleazy in general. Not everything, but to basically throw the people off and to push things under the radar and to push them through that wouldn't happen otherwise, or indirectly alter things without being forthright and letting the people comment and deal with it. So you can see for yourself that that was done if there's a procedural situation with this. So this is relating, and please send your letters to the senator here. You can see the links. You should go to their website and get the links and help them if you can. I'm pretty sure most of the people, I think even most of the mainstream quote-unquote people understand the PLDC is a total bypassing of the people on any given island. It's obviously for the moneyed interests and those supporting them in the power positions working for the state, not the people. So remember, and I mean the state, not the people. Anyways, remember why PLDC must be repealed. Purpose is to make optimal use of public land for recreational and leisure centers for the public and tourists. Permits on public land, all the following: office space, vehicular parking, commercial uses, hotels, residential and timeshare, blah, blah, blah. PLDC is exempt from going before the State Land Use Commission, and it's also, they could develop qualifying ag lands without any public hearings or the public involved. And it exempts the PLDC from all statutes, ordinances, charter provisions, and rules, and etc. And we can keep going. Exempts the PLDC from special management areas. It requires market analysis to determine the best revenue generating. And basically, I'm not going to get into everything, but basically, if you follow it through, it's, people can profit directly. There's no, those who develop it, it's basically they can profit directly, so there's obviously a conflict of interest here. And basically it's a super organization to bypass and do whatever it wants, the way it wants, bypassing the people, the county, and all the general rules and laws to develop what they want as they want, and profit from it directly. So I think, it stinks to, as in Hamlet's, well, I won't even quote it because it might be a little almost profane, but it's just say there's something rotten in the state of, in this case, Hawaii. So we're going to move on to another one, and this is from Barb Cuttins of the Puna Pono Alliance. Aloha, we seek your urgent help and support with this. Act 97 and Act 55 are the same kind of legislature. They eliminate we the people from involvement and hand the power over to the corporate creed. We need to flood the Senate with polite requests to hear HB 106. Malama Solomon appears to be blocking the bill. Please email your senator and the list below seeking their support and any persuasive powers it may have to ensure this important bill for all of Hawaii scheduled. This is what I was mentioning, they'll try to block it and hold it up so basically the light can't get into the, stuff that they're trying to hide. So HB 106 was originally introduced to repeal Act 97 in 2012. Act 97 eliminated both geothermal resource subzones and also county geothermal permitting, an approach widely supported, including a Hawaii County Council resolution. HB 106 was amended to restore county permit, but did not restore subzones and then passed over to the Senate for hearings. The first hearing in the Senate, not yet scheduled, be before the Committee on the Energy and Environment, ENE, Water and Land, PSM. Please join the effort to get a hearing of HB 106. A hearing must be scheduled by Monday. And there's all the relevant email addresses, etc. Now we have a very powerful letter from Harry Kim coming on. And this was a draft that I was sent that may be changed, but I've been fortunate enough to know this man and work with him, and I definitely believe, even if you may be different politically from him, I think you'd be, if you know him at all, you'd be hard-pressed to say he's an honest man. He is not an honest man working for the people. He certainly is honest and working for the people. I have just been informed that HB 106, calling for the repeal of Act 97, will not be scheduled for a hearing in the Senate. The bill will die if it is not scheduled for hearing by Monday, March 18th. If that happens, then Act 97 will govern the development of the geothermal industry in this state. Oh, good. This is just what we've seen. There's accidents, and now basically there's going to be no oversight at all. The state will take it, so we have nothing happening here. Hey, Hilo, when everyone, basically comes into the hospital there and, our whole tourist industry is ruined and everything because they've had a major blowout, you can thank the state, okay, and also your officials there for not getting on and doing their job to protect the residents in this county. It is so very difficult to understand or accept that despite all of the support, and that's of course my opinion there, it is so very difficult to understand or accept that despite all of the support and testimony for HB 106 for the repeal of Act 97 by the people of Maui, Hawaii Island, Kauai, and Oahu, which includes the county governments of Maui and Hawaii Island, the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, Sierra Club, Hawaii Thousand Friends, and many others, HB 106 may not be given even an opportunity to be heard by the Senate. It has not been an easy task to convince people that this was not about a position for or against the development of the geothermal industry. This was about doing it right with the concerns of the people and the environment being addressed. And that is Harry's thing, definitely doing government right. And I'm sure that he means that. What does Act 97 do? Allows geothermal exploration and development in all state land use categories, conservation, urban, rural, and agriculture, including ceded lands. Eliminates entirely the county government's approval and review process over geothermal development. With this goes the entire permit process and people's opportunity for meaningful input. Allows geothermal power plants to be built elsewhere, anywhere in urban, agricultural, or rural districts. Urban, agricultural, and rural districts without a county land use permit or public hearing because it is a right by law of Act 97. Allows geothermal exploratory and development drilling in all state land use categories of conservation, urban, rural, and agricultural land with only a BLNR permit. Reinforces the elimination of the people's right to a contested case hearing. States that geothermal exploration and development are permissible in all conservation, agricultural, urban, and rural zones, i.e. anywhere in the state. It is noted that the sponsors of Act 97 originally attempted to exempt exploratory geothermal wells from Chapter 343, the state EIS-EAA laws. Due to the opposition, they sought an exemption from the EIS-EAA requirements from the Office of Environmental Quality Control in May 2012, but fortunately this effort failed. Imagine what if it would be today if this had passed. Imagine the only notification that the public would have of geothermal drilling would be waking up in the morning and seeing the drilling rig. It is of concern that the supporters of Act 97 may try again. I consider Act 97 a huge threat to Hawaii's people and its environment. I believe that Act 97 shows a blatant disregard for the community, the environment, local units of government, and the county and state laws of zoning and land use. It is difficult to understand or accept that sweeping land use changes were made without any care or mention of people, of land, or of lifestyle. I ask for understanding that the sadness expressed here is not just about the development of the geothermal industry. This is about the relationship between the people and their government. This is about a hope for a government that is an extension of the people and not for special interest or financial gain. It is asked that you become aware that if Act 97 is not repealed, it will open the way to an open-door policy for the development of the geothermal industry, including enhanced geothermal development, EGS, or fracking, which is now being explored by the state of Hawaii. As stated, this is not about being for or against geothermal. This is about doing it right with the greatest care of impact on environment and people. At this time, efforts are being made to see how we can ensure that a hearing will be scheduled on HB 106 in spite of efforts to kill the bill. It is probable, due to the lateness of this writing, that the deadline of March 18th will have passed. If you are reading this before the deadline of March 18th, I ask that you contact the following senators and ask that HB 106 be scheduled for hearing. Senator Malama Solomon, Chair of the Committee on Water and Land, Senator Mike Gabbard, Chair of the Committee on Energy and Environment, and Senator Willa Sparrow, Chair of the Committee on Public Safety, Intergovernmental, and Military Affairs. HB 106 that calls for the repeal of Act 97 needs your help. This act is a blatant disrespect of people, local units of government, of lifestyle, and impact on the environment. It is hoped that our government will be of fairness and do what is right by law and a sense of what is right. And this is from Harry Kim. Thank you, Harry.
On February 27, 1933, Germany's Reichstag building was set on fire. Hitler used this event as a pretext to pass the Enabling Act, which essentially nullified the German constitution and gave Hitler unfettered dictatorial power. Though the fire was blamed on a mentally ill communist who was subsequently put to death, in 1946, German diplomat, intelligence officer, and former member of the Gestapo Hans Gasivius stated that the fire was actually started by the Nazis themselves. Hitler wasted no time putting the Enabling Act into motion, rounding up political dissidents, shutting down journalists, consolidating his power domestically. In August of 1938, German authorities began expelling Jews of Polish descent. The majority of the deportees were rejected at the Polish border and were sent back across the river into Germany. This continued for days, with the refugees marching in the pouring rain without food or shelter between the two borders. The conditions were so bad that some tried to escape back into Germany and were shot. On November 7, 1938, Herschel Greenspan, a Jew of Polish descent whose family was among those deported, walked into a German embassy and shot an officer. On November 9th, Joseph Goebbels, Hitler's propaganda minister, used this event to incite the Night of Broken Glass, or Kristallnacht, during which thousands of Jewish businesses and synagogues were ransacked, and thousands of Jews were rounded up to later be sent to concentration camps. On November the 11th, 1938, the Minister of the Interior, Wilhelm Frick, passed the regulations against Jews' possessions of weapons, stripping the Jews of the right to possess firearms or other weapons. The application of this new law was greatly facilitated by the 1928 Law on Firearms and Ammunition, which had mandated comprehensive gun registration and had already greatly restricted citizens' right to access weapons. Once the Jews were disarmed, there were no further barriers to prevent the genocide that was to follow. People have the tendency to look at history in isolation, not seeing how it connects to events that are unfolding right now. The possibility of a government like Hitler's rising to power in America seems far-fetched in such a context, but such short-sightedness is extremely dangerous. In 2001, America had its Reichstag event, which brought us the Patriot Act, which is essentially the Enabling Act, painted in red, white, and blue. The NDAA of 2012 and 2013, which was signed by Obama, reinforced the Patriot Act, making it much less likely to be revoked anytime in the near future. Hitler rose to power during a time of extreme economic instability. Such periods always facilitate the rise of violent demagogues. The United States is in the early stages of a much more serious economic crisis, one that will make the Great Depression pale in comparison. As this situation progresses, you can rest assured that the Patriot Act and the NDAA are going to start being used more and more. They didn't go to all the trouble of writing those laws for nothing, and they certainly didn't write it to protect the American people from Arab terrorists. The US government uses terrorists to justify taking away your freedom. Hitler used communists. There's one last obstacle blocking anyone seeking to impose an overt military dictatorship in the United States, and that's the fact that the American people are an armed people, and a large percentage of them intend to stay that way, even if it means having to fight for it. Often people make the argument that weapons owned by the American public, such as semi-automatic rifles, pistols, and shotguns, would be useless against the technology possessed by the US military. This is true. However, in such a conflict, the targets wouldn't be military at all. The targets would be the political leaders and the financial oligarchs which created the situation. It's one thing for these guys to start wars with countries who can't defend themselves in the Middle East. It's another thing entirely when you have a guerrilla insurgency in your own neighborhood. If you're coming from the left, you may not understand the intense reactions you're seeing coming from gun owners as you start talking about disarming them. I know a lot of you think they're crazy, and I'm sure some of you think that they're bluffing. One thing I can assure you is that they're not bluffing. If the government attempts to confiscate guns or enforce universal gun registration, there will be bloodshed. And what you need to understand is that there's a large contingency of police and military which are not going to go along with this. It's worth noting that the vast majority of police and military identify themselves as conservatives, and they strongly support the Second Amendment. Already there are sheriffs, soldiers, and highly motivated, well-armed civilians publicly drawing their line in the sand. This is not the kind of situation you want to take lightly. If America goes down this road, people are going to die. And this is especially ridiculous when you look at the facts surrounding these weapons in context. Semi-automatic rifles are involved in less murders each year than hammers, crowbars, and other blunt objects. And to act like the US government actually cares about stopping civilian deaths is ridiculous. Look at what they're doing in the Middle East. They're killing men, women, and children every day. And then they'll tell you that the US government wants to keep guns out of the hands of criminals. Then why was it that the ATF recently got caught selling weapons directly to the Mexican mafia? Google Operation Fast and Furious. I dare you. Listen, they're going to feed you these kinds of excuses because that's what you want to hear. But the real reason they're going to go for the guns is because they want absolute power. And if the public is disarmed, that's what they'll have. Think about the police brutality that you saw during the Occupy protest. Now imagine that these protests are a little bit more intense because people are actually starting to go hungry. And once again, they start doing mass arrests like we've seen before. But this time, people disappear and they don't come back. Now this happens over and over and over again throughout history. You would be insane to think that this couldn't happen in the United States, especially in the current context, especially when you see your government preparing for this kind of situation, especially when they've already passed laws making it legal for the military to disappear civilians like this. And you've been conditioned to believe that this is a question of left versus right, Republican versus Democrat, liberal versus conservative. But when political dissidents start disappearing, you're going to want those conservatives by your side, and you're going to want them to be armed. The difference between a revolution and a genocide is the ability to defend yourself. If you don't see this danger, then you're not paying attention. And even if you aren't, there's a lot of people who are. And they're not going to just lay down and let this happen. Please, America, don't go down this path. We're only going to get one chance to influence how the situation unfolds. So if you agree with the message in this video, please share it with your friends. Share it on Facebook. Share it on Twitter. Get it out to as many people as you can through as many avenues as possible. And if you want more content like this, be sure to subscribe and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. And visit our website at stormcloudsgathering.com.
The Second Amendment is there so the citizens would have the ability, if their government became oppressive, they could defend themselves against oppressive government.
From my cold, dead hands.
Their arms is a right. Open eyes, see the light. Gun control, no do nothing but steal of freedom. That's what they want now. One more government Obama. Deception liar. Fight no, give up the right that's set us free. Let me tell you about the history. Government gun control comes tyranny. Many died for this right for you and me. Reason of government gun laws is to control society. No motive we safer. Just because you take the gun away from America. It's the reason why our forefathers for the people to protect our country from corrupt the government. America go fight. Their arms is a right. Open eyes, see the light. Gun control, no do nothing but steal of freedom. That's what they want now. One more government Obama. Deception liar. Fight no, give up the right that set us free. Are you gun control advocates? Gun control, clear the path for violence. Gun free zone, you gotta know, make no difference. Armed society is a polite society. Disarming innocent people, no protect innocent people. Only make it easier for a criminal. Gun laws, you know, will lead to government democide. America go fight. Their arms is a right. Open eyes, see the light. Gun control, no do nothing but steal of freedom. That's what they want now. One more government Obama. Deception liar. Fight no, give up the right that set us free. There's no have a fair, made no happy what happening cornered of kids. So many young children they so innocent. Condolence to the family, I am so sorry. Right to bear arms to me. It's the guardian of every other right, you say. Beware of the media, they will persuade you as if it's the gun, but abolish our freedom. America go fight. Their arms is a right. Open eyes, see the light. Gun control, no do nothing but steal of freedom. That's what they want now. One more government Obama. Deception liar. Fight no, give up the right that set us free. America go fight. Their arms is a right. Open eyes, see the light. Gun control, no do nothing but steal of freedom. America go fight. Their arms is a right. Open eyes, see the light. Gun control, no do nothing but steal of freedom.
Federal Reserve is no more federal than Federal Express.
You try a hide and destroy a freedom. You seek agenda. We know you anti-American. You come forward American Constitution. 1913, corrupt in the system. Devalue dollar, hyperinflation. The Federal Reserve, controlled by Lucifer. He can see you lying.